Hello, welcome back to Real Retirees Uncut, where you get no filters and no scripts, just conversations about what retirement is really like. Let's talk about reasons you may consider retiring a little bit earlier than rather than later. And it hits home with me because I'm in my fourth year of retirement now, so I retired a little bit early. So I'm gonna try to do my best on it. How's that? Number one is stop postponing life for someday. And I think it's totally true. I really do. You always hear that, man. Someday I'm going to get to this, or one day we'll be able to do this, or whatever. And retirement is that someday. You're no longer waiting for it. It's here. It's just up to you to make the decision to do it. And it's a hard decision to make, but if you look at it like that, you're able to retire a little bit early, and that day you retire is your someday. And I think a lot of people get into trouble by holding stuff off until retirement. I think it's a lot better if you do a little bit while you're still working too. That way if something tragic happens to you didn't miss out on your someday. And I think that's another reason too, is that, hey man, there's no telling how much longer you're gonna be on this earth. If you have the ability to make your someday come a little early, take it. I think it's just some things to think about that help make your decision, maybe get you off the fence a little bit. Time and health, priority over money, and that's so true. Your money or your health is one or two biggest things people always want to work on when they first retire. And the fact, if you can get out a little bit earlier, you're probably healthier today than you're ever going to be the rest of your life. Why not spend them healthy years, working on that someday, instead of giving it back to the company? Them healthy days get smaller and smaller the older you get. And it becomes precious to you. It's something to cherish and to use while you still got it. And when you retire, you got the time to work on it and time to enjoy your health, instead of all the time worrying about a job. Stress is reduced and happiness increased. Totally true. Every bit of it, every word of it. That stress for me, it started going away when I drove out the gate that day. I could feel it come off of me. And I didn't have a stressful job, man. I was just a factory funky, man. I went in there and done what they told me, and I come home. You don't realize how much stress you're under when you have a responsibility of a full-time job. But I could feel it when I left the plant. It was almost like a weight had come off of me, like I could finally breathe easy with it, for the first time in years. And that stuff gets better the longer you're retired. Your stress fades away a lot, and you become happier for it. Happiness comes in place and takes place of it. It's what it does. You're kind of happier inside. You just feel better is what I say. And it's all the time. It's not, hey man, I got today off, I feel good. You know how you felt when you had a day off, just had to kick back and relax? You had your 5 minutes, you could catch your breath. That's retirement the whole time. Simplify lifestyle and expenses. So true. So true. You don't realize how hectic life is when you have a job. It's because you've been doing it for so long. It seems normal to you, but it isn't. When you get out there and retire, you get to simplify how you do things. You don't have to rush and get the whole yard cut today and trimmed and edged out. You can finish it tomorrow. Or you can do it next week or whatever. You got that time, and you can simplify things. You ain't got to rush to get through stuff. And as far as your expenses go, hey man, just traveling back and forth to work can be expensive depending on what the price of gas is. But then you got to look at the wear and tear you put on your car. You know, the upkeep you're going to have to do just so you're able to get into a job. You know, that you might not need it any longer. You might be able to retire a little bit early. You know, and then maybe you have to buy certain tools for work or clothes for work. You know, work can be expensive. Full control of time and pace of life. Yeah, that goes right along with a lot of other stuff, man. When the day you leave, you're total control of yourself. That gives people a lot of nerve sometimes, because it's you know, from the time you start school to the time the day you tell them bye, your time and your pace of life has really been dictated to you by somebody else. You know when you're supposed to be at work. You know what time you got to go to bed so you can get up for work. You know what you got to fit in them hours after work before you go to bed. It's just a constant bit. Like, just living is busy, and it's controlled totally by work. Even if you're not there, it's in your head, and that reduces stress and makes you happier when you leave. You no longer got work on the mind. And that pace of life is something that you know, it seems slow. They talk about retirement, life slowing down in retirement, but it doesn't. You're running at your natural pace. It's a pace that fits you as an individual. It's not the pace that fits the boss man. You're able to get that when you retire. You set your own daily schedule. It's the same thing. It goes right back to the boss man. They give you your schedule and tell you what you're supposed to do, and you know, it's up to you to do it. You ain't got that. And you can a lot of people don't want a schedule or a routine when they retire, but the biggest difference is you the one that's in charge now, and you get to set it, change it, throw it away whenever you feel like. You can adjust it. That makes it seem not so bad. I'm telling you, it does. It's just a difference in it. It's sort of like when I was younger and I thought about going to school and I couldn't stand the thought of it. Another couple of years of college after high school. And people kept telling me it was different. It's different. I didn't believe them, and I went to work. But knowing some of my buddies, and then, yeah, it's a different lifestyle, totally different. But you know, being able to make your own schedule and routine, man, and set it at your pace. I mean, it's totally different. And having a schedule or routine really gives you it kind of gives you a guideline. If you start straying too far off of it and things start to go squirrely in retirement, you have that to fall back on. So, well, listen, it happened because of this. I just start doing this again, and I'll be fine. That was a help to me. It really was. Choose when and how much to work. Yep. And that's a big deal, man. It's not only when and how much, but what you want to work on. You know, maybe you like to work on your vehicle. Maybe you like to like building or something like that. You know, little bird feeder stations or something in it. You know, you can get to choose just how long you want to do it or when you want to get to it. It's like this past fall, I had to paint the foundation and porch to the house here. You know, it took me like a week to paint the daggone foundation. Well, there's a little bit of weather came in play with that, but I mean, I didn't have to get it done in a day or a couple of hours because I had to go to work. Because I just got off a double and I didn't have time to sleep or whatever. It makes anything you do in retirement not really feel like work, because you're the boss. You get to choose. No workplace politics and evaluations. We didn't have evaluations where I worked, but they had everybody has that one jackleg on your shift or in your office or wherever you're at. Kind of ruins things for everybody else, or you just can't seem to get along with them no matter how much you try. You know, that's another thing that work and school is forced upon you all your life. You know, who you associate with. When you're in retirement, man, you don't got to worry about any of that. You get to pick and choose whoever the heck you want to spend your time with. That's a big deal. It really is. It goes right along with that, reducing that stress and then improving your happiness. So that's something that really needs to be thought about. No matter how much you like your job, there's always a part of it that you don't like, that really you don't want to go in on because of, and that's a big part of it. Stop chasing workplace milestones. It wasn't a big deal for me, but I can understand, because you're always taught, hey man, get a better job, move up the ladder. you know I moved up a ladder and found a rung I was happy with and stayed right there. I built a platform. It wasn't a thing for me, but I can understand, especially if you get a title. You all the time wanting to move up, get a better job, better paying job, better benefits and stuff like that. But what you don't realize is that's what sticks you on that daggone hamster wheel, gerbil wheel, whatever it is. You're always chasing the next thing. And that puts a lot of stress on you, a lot of wear and tear on your mind. And it can be bad for relationships too. Eliminate commuting time and costs. Yep. And you don't realize that the price of that commuting time either. Not just cutting back on your gas, your oil, repairs to the vehicle so you can get it going in, but it's also it's time wasted for you. Whether you're spending 10 minutes going into work and back home, or you're spending an hour, it's time you could be using doing something you enjoy or spending with your family. So yeah, that's a big one. It's something I didn't think about either before I retired. Had no idea until it happened. I spend less than half of what on gas now than I did when I was going to work. So that one there will sneak up on you. Flexibility to support and visit family, and that's a big one. I think the older we get, the more friends and family and quality time with them means to us. I just do. And not only is it good for you, but it's good for those your loved ones and the ones around you. It means something to them, especially since you can be there and be in the moment. You're no longer thinking about that truck that's coming in tomorrow that you got to unload, or you're wondering if the autoclave is going to be break down tonight because it was leaking on acid or something. And you might get called in. You're able to clear all of that and be there in the moment and enjoy the moment for what it is, a good time with your family and friends. That's something I think plays a big part in people's lives when they retire, and they don't realize it beforehand, I don't think. Travel during off-peak times. That's so true, and it can help with your budget too. The time of year you go someplace, if it's an off-peak time, it's cheaper. And the big thing for us is the crowds. The crowds aren't there. We're not much for big crowds and finding parking in places and stuff. You go to off-peak times and it's a little cheaper. And you get, it's less crowded. You can get in and get out places if you have to. It just, that's a little perk of choosing to retire. That I think it's like a bonus perk for people. And pursue personal interests and projects, and that's so true. A lot of people have hobbies. Whether it's gardening, whether they like to go to ball games or maybe museums, or they want to play the guitar or something like that. And you have more time that you can explore them. It's maybe you want to go to all the Major League Baseball stadiums. You got time, you can do that. Not just your local team, but you can follow them when you go to as they go to the opponents' places. You got time, you can do that. When the day you retire, it gives you that time. Or maybe you like to bird watch, you know. You can go, you got time, you can hunt for different species of birds and picture them and check it off your list. Retirement's a good time for doing stuff like that, marking stuff off your list. But I think, honestly, man, I thought about all this stuff, but sort of in a different way. I kind of figured that if, you know, if I didn't need to be there, what would make me want to stay? And I couldn't come up with anything. And you got to realize that time is precious, man. And the older we get, the less of it we have, just naturally. You know, would you rather spend your time, your last few healthy days, working for the man, or would you rather spend it doing with your loved ones and family and friends and neighbors, doing what you like to do? It's a hard decision to make, to go just plain retire, but it's even harder if you're planning on retiring early, if you want to retire early. And I think these are some things that might help. If you ask yourself these questions, it might help you make that decision a little bit easier for you. You know, you can always screw up, or you can always fix leaving early, but you can never fix leaving too late. You know, them years are gone. That's what really I thought about before I left. If I left early and didn't like it, couldn't afford it or whatever, I could always go back and find me a job somewhere. But if I waited 5-6 years and then decided to retire and realized I could have done it earlier, those years are gone. And you'll never get them back. But anyways, man, y'all take care. And I hope that helped out a little bit. Some stuff to ask yourself that might help you make the decision. Some reasons why you might want to leave a little bit earlier than you think. Y'all take care. Make it a good day.